This interview is part of the History Heard project. The content of this interview may be used for historical research. However, no part of this video itself may be reproduced without the express written permission of an authorized representative of History Heard or Frank Schaal. Today is January 10th, 2010 at 2 p.m. This is an interview with Frank Schaal in Sarasota, Florida. He was born on October 5th, 1921 in Breslau, Germany.
This is my passport picture when I was 17,
Oh my goodness.
when I left Germany. Okay? Now here is a page from a textbook that I wanted to show you.
I need these when I speak.
This is raciology. Okay? And my name is in here. On the left side are the German youth. They're blonde and blue eyes. Here's a blonde girl, and here's with the braids. Blonde. Here's another blonde guy, and this is how the Aryans were supposed to look. On this side are the ugly Jews. Okay? So here's a guy with a long nose and with the cheekbones and with dark eyes and black hair, and not a very handsome fellow. Here's another one. Here's a Jewish girl with black hair and with dark eyes, and with they want to show the long nose, which was some Jews have bent noses, and this is supposed to be, the ugly ones are supposed to be the Jews. And this is how this is actually a page out of a textbook in school that we used. So I went into this class, and you know, they isolated us as some kind of a monster. And later on, it became an order that Jews couldn't attend a German school anymore. And very quickly, the Jewish community organized Jewish schools where only Jewish children could go to. And this is where I went to until I was 15, and then I left school when I was 15. And
But
I
the
became
education
an
in
apprentice.
Germany was on a much higher standard.
There
So
was one
15
thing.
was definitely the end of high school, you know, and then you went further.
When I went to this school, my mother was downtown in the neighborhood when school was out, and she picked me up from school, and we walked home together. You know, cars were non-existent at that time, really. You know, they were only for the very rich people. They had little cars that they went around with. Mostly we traveled by trolley. And some buses were in existence at that time, very few. But it was mostly everybody had electric trolleys. They had spurs inside from the whole city, spread all over the place, and we went by trolley. The other school, the grammar school, I went by trolley. I had to go to school. It was too long to walk. But here to this school, it was about a 20-minute walk, and we walked to school. My mother came to pick me up, and so the next day, the kids began to ask me, "Who was that dirty Jew woman who picked you up last night?" And I said, "That was my mother." So they said, "You ought to be ashamed of yourself to have a mother like that." And which was very upsetting, and there was no sense fighting them, because there were a whole bunch of them. They would have killed me. So I couldn't do anything. I went home, and when I got home, my parents were home, and I asked my mother please not to pick me up from school anymore, because I told her what the kids said. She was terribly upset about that. She cried terribly that she couldn't pick up her own child from school because of the Nazis. Now the children, the Nazis, they came. Everybody came in uniform. They had to, because an order came out that every child from a very low age to 19 or 18, I think it was, had to belong to the Hitler Youth. And they were divided and organized. The Nazis were very good in that. They organized them into troops. Okay, and after school, they went to their troops and to their troop leaders, and they played military games, and they were prepared, because these kids, my peers in the school, were the soldiers in the Second World War. And so they started their preparation in the Hitler Youth. In the Hitler Youth, they were taught the theory of Nazism. What was the theory of Nazism? The number one authority in the country is the Führer. The Führer was Hitler.
The leader.
The leader.
Means leader.
They called him the Führer. Everybody called him the Führer. F-U-H-R-E-R. Führer. That was Hitler. Hitler had to be 100% obedience from every child. There was no question. When Hitler said something, it had to be obeyed, and that was that. And they had to pledge their lives belonged to Hitler, because first came the fatherland, and Hitler was the leader of the fatherland. The fatherland came first, and the families came second. If there was somebody in the family who was saying something bad about the Führer, they had the duty to come to their troop leader and tell him about that. And then they would pick up that particular person, maybe their father, maybe their mother, maybe a brother or sister. They would pick up that particular person and arrest them and put them into jail or camps. They had started camps now. The concentration camps had started at the time, and people were picked up since the Crystal Night. They had already the camps prepared so that they could take 40,000 people. The numbers vary. Some say it's 60,000. Some say it's 35,000. I heard I stick to the number of 40,000 Jews in Germany were arrested on that one day, just because they were Jews. Mm-hmm. They had done nothing. On Crystal Night, it started during the night, and I was ready to go to work. I started at 7 o'clock, and I had to leave at 6 because I had to pick up material before. I started very early, and this woman came across to me and said, "Don't go to work, because my husband just came home from the night shift, and they're smashing the..."
I thought I was talking about Crystal Night.
Yeah, you were
You can
talking
both
about
talk about
Crystal
it, it's
Night.
fine.
Yeah, well, you can talk about your experiences.
Yeah.
Don't go, because it's dangerous. They're arresting the Jews. And they were all ready for that. I don't know whether you know how Crystal Night started. Did you learn that?
A little bit, but not a lot.
Crystal Night, they had to have an excuse. They were all ready to arrest the Jews, and it was the dress rehearsal for the Holocaust. That was the beginning of the Holocaust. And it was a tryout whether the German people would tolerate it or whether they would revolt. And the German people did nothing. They started throwing stones at the Jews. They started spitting at them. They started cursing at them when they were arrested.